Today on Smackey's Garage, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going to talk about what's the basic tools that you need to get started to work on cars. Whether you're doing it as a hobby, when you want to build some projects, or if you're just working on the car that you have today, we're going to cover kind of what the basic tools are and what you should get. So for myself, I've been working on cars and engines for over 30 years now. Not professionally, but as a hobby. And I've collected quite the setup of tools. Everything from milling machines to toolboxes filled with tools to all these unique tools that I've probably used only once on some specific projects, but you end up collecting a lot of tools over time. Now there's probably a top 5 things that you need to get started to work on cars, and we're going to cover what those 5 are. Let me know down in the comments what tools you would recommend for someone that's just starting out in this hobby, working on cars, or wanting to work on their own. Now, the first set of tools that I think are critically important for any hobbyist is to get a good set of socket wrenches. Now, they come in 3 different sizes. That's pretty much standard. I mean, you have your 1/4 inch, your smallest one, your 3/8, and your 1/2 inch. You're gonna probably get different size ratchets based on what you're getting, but you can probably get a good full kit for pretty cheap offline or through a place like Harbor Freight. You don't need to get the best quality tools to start, but you just need to get some tools. So what I do is I'd get a basic kit of 1/4 inch, 3/8, and 1/2 inch ratchets plus the sockets that go with them. Over time, you're gonna definitely end up with an entire drawer filled with sockets of, kind of, let's say 3/8 inch sockets that are both metric, SAE, and then you're gonna end up with short ones as well as long ones. So you're gonna have an entire drawer filled with sockets. So it's good to just get started. You can get a good entry-level set for under $100, and it'll really last you pretty far into the hobby of working on cars. Now myself, I started with a basic kit and I've upgraded over time. Now I'm currently using Tecton brand ratchets, sockets, and open-end wrenches. I've found a brand that I like, something that I feel like is good value, it's reasonably priced, and those are the ones that I purchased, and I've been replacing pretty much all my old tools as I go along. For this entry-level set of tools that you're buying, you know, it's good to gift them to someone else later if you decide to upgrade. Now next, some basic jobs required to get under the car to work on it. And what I like to do there is I like to buy a good set of ramps. Now I always say you should get a quality set of ramps because, I mean, if you're going underneath a car, you want to make sure that you're safe. So you should do some research on what set of ramps works for you, as well as making sure that they're safe and they fit within your budget. Now for myself, I've had these ramps for quite some time. I had to get some specialized longer ones for some of my cars because some of my cars are so low that it's hard to get them up in the air. So I use this set of race ramps that I purchased quite some time ago, but they've been holding up well and they work perfectly. Now you don't need to get something this expensive for what you're doing, but make sure you do your research so that you understand what the minimum load is and what you're going to be using them for, and then the surface that you can use them on. So make sure you check all that when you buy your ramps. Next, I would look into getting a good quality screwdriver set. Now, I would get a full set and not just a bunch of different random screwdrivers, because a good screwdriver set with all the different sizes will help to make sure that you don't strip any Phillips head screws or damage any flat bladed screws while you're taking them off. Now, the reason why I put this high on my list is because if you end up using a screwdriver and it has too big of a bit or too small of a bit, the head size, on the wrong screw, you can actually damage the screw and it's more of a pain to get out now that it's damaged and you need to drill it out. So I definitely recommend looking at what's a good quality screwdriver set you could get and multiple sizes with it, as well as multiple lengths. Next, I'd look at getting a good set of open-end wrenches. You can get a good set of open-end wrenches for under $100, and that includes both the SAE set as well as a metric set. Now, these are something that's going to come in very handy while you're working on cars, whether it's you're working in a tight area or you're trying to take off a bolt that has a nut on the back of it, and you need to use the ratchet on one side and then the open end on the other. Now, for the next set of tools, I'd be looking at getting a voltmeter or an ammeter for working on your car. Now, when you look at cars, they're half mechanical. If you're working on later cars, they're mostly electrical. So being able to trace down issues that pop up, I mean, you need a voltmeter to do it, or at least you need some sort of test light. Now, I'd recommend the voltmeter because it gives you more information to be able to work on your car. Now, I've used it multiple times on any type of projects that I've had, especially if I'm looking on older cars like this one back here behind me. You know, it comes in really handy if you're trying to figure out what's grounded, where there are issues with grounds. is there power to a bulb that I need the power, or is the bulb dead? Now you don't really need to buy the most expensive multimeter. You can buy something for under $30. It doesn't need to be that accurate, but it needs to at least work well. So you can find one for under $30 that should get you started. I personally use a Fluke that I got that I paid probably about $100 something for it, but it's never really failed me. So you don't need to get something that expensive, but at least get something that you can do some basic electric diagnosis with it. So that's it. I think that's the top 5 things that I would get if I was starting over again and I was trying to do some basic work on cars, or if I was trying to start this hobby again. You know, you can always upgrade your tools later in life, so you don't need to buy the best right now. But I think the most important thing is to get started and to start working on cars, because it's a great hobby and it's fun. Thanks for tuning in to Smackey's Garage. I'll see you next time.